Hello. Welcome, brothers and sisters of the light. My name is Adolphina Shephard, host and co-host here of the new show, first time, of God's Way, YATUVAY, with Adolphina Shephard and co-host Thomas Knights Templar.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me, and I'd like to welcome you all, our studio guest, and our distinguished panel. To my left, I have Christine Shephard, who's a veteran at the station here. Has her own show, Spiritual Exploration, which can be seen every Friday night at 10 p.m., right?
Correct. On FiOS channel 35 and on cable it's channel 79.
Okay. And Phyllis?
And this is Phyllis Graywolf, spiritual healer and past life regressionist. She's fabulous at that. Say whatever you want.
Currently, I've been doing a lot of past life regression, and animal healing is what I've been really putting my time into currently.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, people don't realize how important that is.
We have our guest here because we're going to later on do an energy experiment. So hang until the end of the show because this is going to get really interesting, okay? Because it's going to be something you haven't seen before.
Okay.
Now, okay, so this show will be focusing on evolutionary Christian spirituality because sometimes we get too focused on religion and not on spirituality. And why is this important, you might want to know? It's because when you're learning about religion, you're learning about someone else's religious experience. When you focus on spirituality, you were focusing on your own religious experience, right?
Yeah, it's your personal, your own personal relationship with God. God lives in all of us, and we live in God. When God created the world, He did not create man separate. He didn't create man to be. These people are Catholic. These people are Jewish. These people are Muslims. He didn't have any denominations. In the Bible, it just says right in the beginning, God created the world and all was good. So He did not separate us by religions and beliefs. Man created that. All right. With no further ado.
And so we'll be going through the modality of YATUVAY, which is right in this picture here. Also, the beginning of the show, you see that symbol. And this is a modality that's been given to me by God, and as I work with the Holy Trinity. And the greatest thing about it is we'll be leading you to not only your own personal relationship without an intermediary like a priest, but for your own personal self-healing, and so that you can also learn how to heal others and take care of your family and friends and loved ones. So at many times you might find that we'll come across aspects from the East, from the West, which things that we don't know so much here, or that has not been expressed. Now, you might want to ask, well, why? Why are we even doing this? Well, the answer is in Jesus. Because Jesus came to show us the path to walk. Now, what did Jesus do? What did He do, right?
He gave His life for us.
Well, that's for sure. But what else did He do? He healed.
He
healed. He healed the sick, the lame, the weak. He healed the blind. He healed those with leprosy. Okay? And this is something we all need to do because God gave us free will. And if we don't exercise our own free will and consciously walk that walk, guess what? You don't get there. So if you ever want to get into your own personal relationship with God, and I don't mean just praying, I mean where you can actually hear God as well. So this is all gifts of the Spirit, just as it says. And as we go through this process, everyone will be able to hear and see because we all have been given these abilities. It's just a matter now of honing them. That's all. So one other question, what else? What else did Jesus do? Anybody come up with a quick answer?
Walked on water.
Well, He did that. Oh my God, He sure did that, didn't
He performed a lot of miracles.
I know. And you know what, though? What surprised me? When I read that 76 times in the Bible, what did he do? He cast out spirits.
Oh, really?
He 76 times he cast out spirits. This is key because this is what keeps us living under the thumb and not fulfilling having our own relationship with the
You
Godhead.
cast out bad spirits?
Yes, cast out bad spirits. And, you know, and it's layers upon layers of this stuff because people don't know how to do this. Well, we're going to learn.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're going to learn. So this is how you grow your own divinity and how you learn to walk in peace and joy. Because you know what? It says in Thessalonians 4 that Jesus said, each of you must learn how to clear and maintain your vessel in sanctity and honor. Well, how many of you truly know how to do that? How many people know how to do that? Anybody here at this table? I do.
Well, I
Could you
do.
repeat that, please?
Yes, it's right there. Each of you shall know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor.
Now, could you explain what that means?
Yeah. See, people think they only think and know about the physical body, but there is so much more to our vessel. I mean, we are a vessel for our soul and for. We all also have seeds of the Holy Trinity, and I'll show you that as well. So. Okay, and so as we go through that, so what that means is we have to learn how to address each aspect because we have a spiritual body and nobody knows about this. Nobody knows that we have a spiritual body.
That would be our soul?
The spiritual body is actually how and what God feeds us, the energy for life itself. And I'll show you if we can have up the first, let's see, the photo with, let me go to the right photo. It's the one with the 5 people on the evolution of the aura. Okay, if we can have that picture up in the control booth. Now this is what will help. See right here, now you take a look at that. Basically, the first human on the left, that's just a normal human like we all are until we actually consciously step on that path and walk the same path Jesus did. Okay, that's what we look like. That's a normal human that has the seeds of the Holy Trinity. And everybody has this. And they're the seeds of potential. Now, as you go through, this is basically the evolution of a practicing YATUVAY healer. This is your spiritual body. And you can just see as you look at the photos how it grows, okay? Now, the second one to the right image is growing and expanding the spiritual body. The third photo to the right is expanding the seeds. And you can see how it's getting larger and larger as you walk on your path. Growing their soul's evolution, healer. That's when you get to the point that you're a healer and can have change, transforming people when they need your help. Now, as you get to the last, look at that. Now, that's a human angel with the expanded presence of the Holy Spirit and the Holy Trinity. That's a true healer, okay? So where we all start is to the photo on the left, and where we all end up is to the final photo on the right.
So what you're saying that this is the query, and this is his path in growth, in
Right.
spirituality. When he reaches the final destination here, then he has achieved.
Right, then he's a true healer, okay? So this is our goal. We're going to walk this path to get everybody to over here, a human angel, and having expanded presence of the Holy Trinity and a healer. Because see, you do not really have the power to push energy until you get to that point. Because you need me to fix this? You can have great intentions, and of course that helps, but what really helps is when you can push a great volume of energy. Okay, so let me go over here and just see, I don't want to miss anything. So as you get to this part where you're actually expanding your spiritual body, then at that point you are creating your own sanctified personal relationship with God. Now, as your body grows, your spiritual body grows, what happens is your gifts that God has given us also expand. So those who don't have clairvoyant hearing, or they can't see and clairaudience, right? Pretty soon you start hearing and you can see and you can help. And these truly are gifts of the Spirit, just as it says in the Bible.
Well, let me ask you something now. How did you come upon this as far as to come up with the inspiration for YATUVAY? What was your inspiration for it?
Well, my inspiration was I was in a terrible car accident, and I was told that I would be terribly disabled for the rest of my life. And at that point, I had a great deal of difficulty even using my arms and my legs. I would trip all the time and fall down, and I couldn't see myself being disabled for the rest of my life. And I was just following my intuition when it led me to a Christian church where they did laying on of the hands. That was step one. Step two was when I was guided to follow and learn about different techniques into energy healing.
You just happened on a church where they were laying on hands?
They were laying on hands in the church, but they did not have any techniques. They didn't have the knowledge of what really is required, because it's the rare person that you can say, okay, heal me, and without knowing specifically what needs to be done.
They didn't know how to direct the energy.
They didn't know how to direct the energy to what needed to be done. So I then started taking some energy classes, but you know what? Oh my God, I really felt like something was missing. You know, it actually kind of scared me a little bit, and I realized what was missing was the prayer and the faith involved in it. And at that point, when someone is just working a modality without the blessing of the Godhead, well, you know, it's your energy. But when you're working with the YATUVAY modality, it's actually God's energy doing the healing. So because we send energy in the vibration of unconditional love to God, and then ask God to send it down, back to perform the healing.
Well, it's always God's energy that, in the long run, that does the healing.
Well, because God is everything, right?
We're just the vessel, right?
Yeah, we're just a vessel. So we want to refine our vessel and get it to where we need to be so we can push that energy, and we're not also pushing out anything of our gunk. We don't want to give anybody any of our gunk.
That's true. That's true. Lord knows we all have it, right?
Well, the actual steps describing your book, how are they, how was that taught to you in order to, write it down in a book?
Oh, okay. What wound up happening with that, Tommy, was after I had gotten to a set point of where I learned the knowledge, some of the knowledge, it gave me the idea, okay, the laying on of the hands was doing it with God. The energy modalities were working with the energy, but they weren't calling in God with the faith and the prayer. So you see, that was the snafu. So after a certain period of time, I started channeling in my own information, and I was actually told to stop working with the other energy people and to actually come out of the church as well. Yeah. And so I was working with Jesus, and he was giving me all these different techniques that he used when he walked this path. So that's how it all came about.
Yeah, they were retarding your ability at that church. They just told me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense, because they said, get out of the church. And at the time, I couldn't imagine why. Of
Why are you
course,
telling
right?
me to leave a church, right?
Yeah, why are you telling me to leave the church? But like you said, it's retarding the ability to hear
Well,
what
churches
needed
are
to
made
be
up of humans,
Right.
And we are fallible.
and God is everywhere.
You're right. You're right. You're really right. So basically, what I envision is that each TV episode will build it like a foundation. We'll go from the foundation, then we'll put in the plumbing, we'll put in the wires, then we'll build the walls, then, we'll put the carpets in, then the kitchen and the bathroom, and then the roof, you see, just like they do. And eventually, everyone that is watching the show will experience this transformation.
Phyllis, do you use any of this type of energy healing in your practice?
Yes, I do. Currently, I've been working more with animals than with people, but I
I
find
love doing that. Isn't it rewarding?
very much so.
Yes,
I
yeah.
have to tell you that
I
when a
get it.
pet isn't feeling well and you have the opportunity to spend time, they reward you in so many different ways. What happens generally is that they'll start to relax. Whereas when you're working with a human, they tend to be
Tense
a
up.
little bit more tense. Whereas a dog, immediately when you lay your hands on them,
They know.
it's accepted as a comfort. They lay down and immediately allow the energy in, where people tend to block it. So I find that working with dogs, they'll release a great deal of immediate bad
They're
energy.
more in tune.
Absolutely.
They
the
are.
truth?
And they
Cats
know
too.
that you're trying to help them, cats, horses
Cats
as well.
particularly, my dealings with them, I feel that, like right back from them. They're instantaneous. They have something about them.
It's immediate. And if you watch the interplay between animals in your own home, if you have more than one, if there's one sick animal, you'll see that the others will come and they'll add their energy to them and immediately try to heal them. So if you pay attention, you'll notice that if one's not feeling well, the other one will keep leaning on them.
Oh,
Or you'll
nice.
see them nose to nose, or they'll press their head up against each other. And what they're doing is transferring the energy from their channeling it just in the same manner that we do into the sick animal.
That's
And
nice.
it's incredible. You'll notice that the healing is taking place when the animal takes a deep breath. And then you'll see them laying on the floor and they go, and they're letting it go. They're very open to allowing that to happen.
Well,
That's
the
true.
animals are unconditional love, so I would say that for them to be
100%,
healed,
yes.
it would be more, they'll accept your healing energy to them.
They do.
Because
They know you're trying to help
they
them.
know you're trying to help them. You go do that to a human, it says, why are you touching
Yeah,
me
you
here?
don't
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Or,
and sometimes
you know.
human people aren't ready to let it go. Animals are always willing. They're always willing to let go any type of illness, so they immediately release, and it's a wonderful feeling.
I just
sure.
think that basically people are a lot more apprehensive. They think that, what is this, voodoo and, all of this stuff.
No, it's
But then the
not.
next thing you know,
No faith
a
in
couple
it.
of days
That's
later,
true.
they call you up and say, somehow I feel so much better. Because what was that you done to me? And then they're afraid to go and say something to a neighbor or something because, oh yes, I went to see a healer and she did this or he did that. And the people look at them like, oh, okay. All right. Because it's their ego that doesn't allow them to see that there's another way.
Very true. I think, too, what happens with people is that they say that they don't want to be ill, but sometimes they're not ready
True.
to release it.
That's right. Some
The
people
time
don't want to
hasn't
be
come
healed
to
at
let
that
it
point.
go.
Yes.
Yeah,
Some of them just like the attention because, stuff like that.
I believe that's true as
Yeah.
well.
A
So
lot of
you're
ti-
trying to work with them, and if it's not their time to
That's right.
release,
That's right.
sometimes it's not always a success.
When they have, like
Yeah.
I said, when they have their sicknesses and things like that, a lot of times, people want to come and get healed, and they have say a kidney problem or a lung problem, lung issue, and then you try, you start working on stuff like that, and they get better, and then it happens again. It gets better, but they also have something that's blocking them,
That's right.
and it's something they're carrying with them that impedes your healing. All right. And then a lot of other times they're being bombarded with all these barbiturates and
Makes it-
drugs that you can't tell where you are with them because of that.
Because they're always in
You
la
know,
la land.
'cause they're loopy, at best.
I find that with past life regression, I've been doing quite a bit of that lately. That helps you to go back and really look at where a lot of your hang-ups or your problems are coming from. People have a problem perhaps with going over a bridge or with not wanting to go into the water.
as you say that,
And if
right?
there's absolutely no reason in your current life to have that type of a fear, if you will, then it may have come from a past life.
Sure.
And very often, if you visit that, you'll see that at that point, you may go back to a life where you drowned.
Right.
And so you would bring that forward with you and not know. It's not a logical reason to be
It's like
afraid.
some people can't take a high collar or something because they may have been hung
Right.
in a
Yeah.
former past life.
And
Very true.
it's pretty well known, isn't it, in past life, just in hypnotherapy circles, that if you go back to that lifetime where the problem exists, that once you see it, it's gone, right?
Well, you ask it to be released. It's not for your highest good. You can release it and then move on with your
At that
life.
point,
Yeah.
while you're
Very
being
often.
regressed. What I do usually when I do my prayers is that I ask to be released from all past vows, from past lives and all past energies.
Yes.
And things that may have occurred there that I don't want to bring into this lifetime. So I dissolve them, hopefully that covers
It's
it.
a very good way to do it. And
Yeah.
as long as you're ready to release it, that's exactly what'll happen.
And some people need to be regressed because they don't realize what they're
And
doing.
what the problem
Right.
is, right?
They keep on retarding their own healing.
They do. Yes.
Many times I call on Phyllis when I'm working with a person who has serious issues because we need to get to the root. I mean, you can fix the physical all you want, but unless you get to their root, which could go back 19 lifetimes, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, true.
And so that
And
was
that means
one
a
of
lot
the
of you
reasons.
people are a lot older than you look.
That's true.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to move a little faster
Yeah,
so we can move it on.
all right.
Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit further about some of the other names that the spiritual body is called. For simplicity's sake, many people call it the aura. It's also been called the quantum field, the biofield, the human energy system, the electromagnetic body, and I could go on and on. It just depends on what scientist says, this one or that one. They all call it different names. But for simplicity's sake, let me just call it either the aura or the electromagnetic body because, you know, we really are electrical beings. When we're in spirit, we're electrical, we're light. So that's why that makes so much sense to me. So as we go along, we will be working with the spiritual body. So I wanted to see and pull up one of the other shows so we can go forward with that. So while they're pulling up the next picture, which is
By riff.
it's
The grids.
there you go. He has it up. Okay. Well, I want to make it easy for you. See, this is your spiritual body here. And if you can see where it says the prana tube at the top and going all the way down at the bottom, that is what I like to refer to as your gas tank if you were a vehicle, because surely enough, this is our vehicle for life. And believe it or not, we also have many other aspects to it. You see where it says the chakras to the right? It's pointing to all the major chakras there. They're kind of like if you were a vehicle, that would be your spark plugs. So just as in a vehicle, a car, you want to make sure that they're always open so that the energy from your gas tank can come through and run your body. Now, later on, we're going to be doing an energy exercise that we spoke about. And if you look over to the left, go back to that. I'm not finished quite there. You see there where it says the grids. And you see those circles, they look like round circles, they are your grid layers. And you should have a minimum of 7 of them in order to work with your chakras and in order to have a healthy body. Now, from experience, I found, okay, we're done with that, that from experience, I found that most people are functioning on a 3 or 4 layer grid system. So no wonder people are always tired or they have this problem or that problem because they're not fully being fed the energy for life. Okay? Because God can send that energy through the prana tube, but if it can't get through the chakras and go through your grids through all 7 layers, your spiritual body is not functioning properly.
They have to be aligned
Yeah, they have to be aligned and in order.
and cleansed.
And cleansed, absolutely, because just like a spark plug, what happens when the car spark plugs get clogged up?
I call my mechanic. I don't know.
Yeah, he calls it a mechanic. But you all know that the car will buck, right? Right? It will buck, it will stall, it won't work right. Well, this is the same thing. And now with the shift that has occurred, we're actually going to a 12 grid, 12 chakra system. So we're building that even now, but we got to get all this fixed up, you see?
Is there any? Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Kristen.
Oh. Well, 12 chakras, you say, we have the 7, and then there's 5 more above us.
Well, we do have we have
below us, too.
a whole
And
bunch of
behind the
other
knees.
chakras throughout our body, secondary chakras, and we have main chakras below and above, but we're actually, these chakras are being activated. They weren't active before. So now we have to make sure that you have enough layers of what we'll do in the energy experiment to actually work up to that 12 active chakra, because they can't be activated until you have the grid layers, you see, activated. So they have to be built, and we will go through all that too.
What could interfere with that? interfere with the actual grid system?
What interferes with the grid system is, let's say that car accident I had, right?
Surgeries?
Well, surgeries, when you also electrical frequencies, and we're bombarded by that now.
Yeah.
I mean, like for instance, if you have a tower by your leg, a computer tower, that can burn holes right in your aura or your electromagnetic body, and we don't even have a clue. Or supposing even
Cell phones.
Right, cell phones.
Absolutely.
You see a
Cell
lot of
phones.
holes
I
up
got
here
two
where
of them.
people.
I'm not giving them up.
Yeah,
But most of the time I use the speaker.
the speaker. Yeah. See,
Bluetooth.
because you're aware,
Yeah.
but there's so few people that are aware and of that, and so. But there's when we go through the scanners at the airport,
Yeah.
for instance.
Yeah.
That's really heavy duty stuff.
Especially the ones that they could see right through.
X-rays, MRIs,
Yes.
Right.
all these things affect
Spooky,
it.
isn't it?
Yeah.
They go to zone for a few seconds, huh?
Yeah.
Well, how do you repair it then?
Well, what we'll do is we actually have a technique that's called grid repair. And that grid repair, that's one of the components that must be fixed first, because if you're sending energy to someone, working with the Godhead to help someone that's sick or whatever, the energy just leaks out through those holes. So it doesn't do what it was intended to do for the most part, because it's leaking out through the holes. So, but our first exercise is so that people understand the various components so that they can envision it, because otherwise, they really don't have an idea. But I wanted to show you something else too. Can we have the next picture up? There we go. Now this here is of our spiritual body, and this here is your meridian system. Now, I don't know if many of you know about acupuncture. How many of you know about acupuncture?
Yeah.
Everybody
Oh,
knows?
yes.
Know about it,
Did you have it?
Seen
Anybody here
I've
have
never
it?
had it, but I've seen it.
Well, basically what that's doing is stimulating these meridians to unblock an area or to bring blood flow for healing and so forth. But if you go through these scanners, MRIs, like you said,
Yeah.
X-rays.
I had so
you
many of
ha-
those.
Right, or you have accidents or whatever. And how many times did you fall down when you were a kid? How many times did you
of
fall
course.
down when
No
you were a
less
kid?
than a
Never
million,
fell
I
down.
would
I was very
imagine.
talented.
I bet you fell out of a tree and broke an arm or leg or two.
I fell out of a tree, I did. I landed on something soft, my friend.
Oh, no.
But the thing is these meridians break. And these meridians are key to feeding your organs and to feeding the other components of your spiritual body. So this is your spiritual body that we'll be working with. And so, we take it from there. But the one thing is, I wanted to tell you a little bit about why it's important with YATUVAY, what that's about, because this is key. It says in the Oracle of Kabbalah, which is a 13th century Kabbalistic text, it's called the Sefer HaTamana, which is the book of the image. It teaches how this missing letter of the Hebrew alphabet is what causes all the defects in the world. And that when this came into being, this letter, that the world could be made whole again. Yeah, isn't that
You're talking
interesting?
about the symbol?
I'm talking about YATUVAY. Now, YATUVAY is a symbol. It's an alphabet letter. It has a numerical value of 1,000. And it is the letter of the mothers that merging with the Godhead of the Father, so that, because we are all made in God's image, right? So we have to have a feminine component,
Side as well as a masculine.
a feminine component as well as a masculine. So the world has been somewhat unbalanced. And now, finally, I was given this letter and this symbol about 8 years ago. And it's right here again, or they can put it up right here on the right-hand side of, no, not that, it's the symbol of YATUVAY. It's actually
Open
here.
the
This will make it
symbol.
easy.
It's right on the book.
Here you go, right on the front of the
Can
book.
you bring that in?
Yeah, can you see that? The symbol right here? It's on the book. It's also on the poster behind. And that's what it looks like. And so 8 years ago is when this letter came into being. Now, supposedly, that this letter was with all the other letters of the alphabet on the original tablets where it was inscribed. There we go. There is the symbol. Now,
That's Hebrew text?
that is Hebrew text. No, I'm not Hebrew. So this is very interesting that it was given to me. But at any rate, when this letter came into being is when the world could be made whole and that all the defects could disappear. Now, interestingly enough, look what's happening with the shift with 2012, with the ongoing shift into the 1,000 years of peace and the golden age. So this is happening as we speak, but it's not, it's not instant. It's going to take a little time for all the defects to be corrected and so forth. But that's what that's all about.
And how are they being corrected?
Well, mankind is awakening, and this is part of why we're teaching this too, because as we're teaching this and each person awakens, their consciousness rises, they begin to know what's wrong in the world, and let's fix it. That's when people say, let's fix this. This isn't right.
All that, like going green and stuff like that?
Yes, exactly. Getting rid of the pollution, cleaning up, going green, getting rid of anything that doesn't serve mankind for its highest good. So the goal is to awaken mankind.
I think
Great.
people just being kinder to people, if you've noticed, there's a
Sometimes,
little bit
yeah,
more
very
of that,
often,
and
yes.
it makes a difference.
Oh, yeah, it feels good.
If you show a small kindness, opening a door
Small
for someone.
kindness, even
Well, letting
even
somebody go
complimentary,
when you're
being-
driving,
Absolutely.
you let
I
them
do
make
that
their
every day.
left turn because there's a load of traffic behind you, so you're saving somebody a little time, and they wave to you.
Yeah.
It's-
You
it's-
want to try something? It's experiment. You try it. You go into a drive-through, say at Dunkin' Donuts, and for no reason at all, just by the person behind you, pay for their coffee.
Yes.
Okay, and just drive off.
Nice. Aw.
That person will buy for the person behind. It's just like
Maybe.
it's just like a
Pass it
shockwave.
forward. Pass it
You know,
forward,
if you
right?
go,
Oh, no,
if you,
pay it
if you
forward. That's
put
what
out
they
that
say.
positive energy
Yeah.
in the morning, that even morning, afternoon, whenever,
You
or
can
just be kind to
truly
somebody, you
change
can change
their
it.
entire day
I
by
remember
simply showing a little
The
kindness.
first time you showed
Absolutely.
me this book,
Just been a little more.
immediately
I've
from the
noticed.
symbol,
Yes.
I got God's way.
Yeah, that's why we call the show God's Way, truthfully, because when Tommy saw this book, as soon as he saw it and he saw the symbol, he knew that it meant God's way. And that's what it is, and it's true.
In reading
It was
this,
meant to
I tell you, in reading this, is a lot of interesting stuff. It's a very good book. Very good book.
If-
Life
And where can you
changing.
get it?
Yes.
On
Amazon.
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 Yeah.
Go to Amazon and ask for YATUVAY, the manual.
Or you can also just
Just put
Google
in her name.
Adolphina, and it will come up under Amazon.
Oh, yeah, oh, just go to Amazon and type in Adolphina.
Yep, or you can, YATUVAY is the only one out there under that title, so
Right.
it would come right up anyway,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, if people want to get a jump start on ahead of the coursework we'll be going through to repair you and build you towards your own personal relationship where you'll actually be able to hear God yourself and see God, then you can get a jump by getting the book if you want.
It'll help you a great deal to basically have a knowledge of what we're speaking about here. You know, it's only one show so far and only one lesson, but as time goes on, you know, you'll get to be a practitioner. You know, you get to learn to do this and to help others, and you'll be amazed at when people get better, you know, and all you did was like direct energy at them, and you know, do your best to help them and to bring them into their spirituality. It's so rewarding. It's I can't begin to tell you how rewarding it is to me.
It's a good feeling, it is.
It's just a wonderful thing, you know, especially when it's like kids like Nicholas,
Yes.
okay, or you know, even an elderly that may have had a problem and it's a serious thing, and the family is worried about them, and all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, they're better. You know, they don't need that hospitalization, or they don't need that operation.
Or the medication.
Or the medication. Medication is quite right. You know, we're poisoning our bodies in this country. We have the highest addiction rate to oxycodones. Something like 112 million people.
Wow,
on
that's
112 million people
Addicted to,
are on oxycodones.
And that's a
they're
terrible
on it, they're
medicine.
addicted to it because it's
Terrible.
very addictive.
Vicodin, Percocet,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
garbage.
yeah.
All that, yeah,
It's garbage.
it is.
Want to do
Yeah.
the demonstration?
Yeah, I guess we're just about ready to
Yeah,
do
we're
the
right there.
demonstration, but I wanted to mention that I know someone that was on that Oxycontin after an operation and taking it as he was told, OD'd, and had to be rushed to the hospital and given the antidote twice.
Wow.
Almost died from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just about ready, I guess, for that energy exercise. So who wants to go first? You want to go first or you want to go first?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Okay.
it would be new, so
right.
let's let her go first.
Okay, so we're going to actually do a little energy exercise where you'll see where I'm hoping our guest will be able to feel the actual spiritual body that is invisible to most people. So this is invaluable for everyone, because now you too will learn how you can assess. You'll be able to do it yourself. I encourage you to practice this at home. You want to warm up your hands a little
Okay.
bit, wake them up a little bit. Now what's going to happen is Christine is going to walk towards me, and when she feels, she's going to set her intention to feel the spiritual body layers that we were talking about. Remember, we were talking about the 7 layers, and that's going to a 12 layers. So, and if she hits one and doesn't stop, I'll ding her so she can feel it or whatever. So we'll just play with it a little bit. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so put your hands up like this, and just very slowly walk by, because you don't want to walk by too quick. And then when you hit something, I want you to tell everybody what you're feeling.
I'm feeling like a little bit of a resistance,
Okay?
okay? A little bit of energy in front of me, just kind of there.
Does it kind of feel like a plastic bubble to you?
Like
Because
a
that's
shield.
how I feel it sometimes, like a plastic bubble.
shield.
Like, you know what, like
Yeah,
if you
like kind
blew
of a shield,
bubble.
yeah,
Like a
kind of a
shield.
shield. Yeah. Now, walk again?
Yeah, walk slowly forward again. Some of them are thicker and some are thinner
Yeah, this
too.
one here is very thick.
Okay, so see, as you get closer too, it will get stronger.
Yeah.
Okay, so does it feel any different?
This feels kind of tingly.
Tingling?
As she
Okay.
gets closer to you, does she compact the energy?
Yeah, well, as you get closer, it's closer to the physical body, so it gets stronger. It gets stronger.
Okay.
You
yeah,
ready?
I can feel it getting
Yeah.
stronger.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have to move very far either.
Yeah, what are you feeling?
Now,
If you
it's
feel
even
another
more
one?
tingly
Uh-huh.
and more stronger.
And you know what's interesting? Different people feel it different ways. Sometimes you can feel it cold, hot, tingly, fluffy. I've heard every name in the book, so it's interesting. You're again. Go ahead. You ready?
Before when we were practicing, it was like fluffy.
Yeah, it was fluffy.
But I'm feeling a very, very strong energy, almost like it's pushing me or
Pushing you back?
Yeah,
Repelling you.
yeah, like holding me back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's getting thicker and stronger as I get closer.
Okay.
Yeah,
You-
yeah,
There's another one.
yeah.
Okay, well, you can keep coming another couple feet.
Yeah, more tingly,
Uh-huh.
more stronger,
So-
more like a wall.
More like a wall.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, come to the next layer. Let's see what we get.
Lightened up a little bit.
Lightened up. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I hope that kind of people will practice that at home so they can feel it for themselves.
Yeah, it's very, yeah, you can feel like you're walking through something like there, you know, it's not just thin air.
And you know what's interesting? You know how they say how we're all one?
Yeah.
Well, we're all in each other's spiritual body. How
That's
could we
right.
not be
That's
one?
right, yeah.
And we're also breathing the same air, aren't we?
Uh-huh,
Right?
That's right. That's right.
So it can be no other way.
Yep.
Well, thank you, my dear.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
You want to get up and we'll give you a
Certainly.
try too, see what you
Certainly.
get? And I'm so glad they could feel, although truthfully, I don't think I've had a person who couldn't feel out of all the years I've done this experiment. Okay, you ready, my dear? I was just going to go ding. What are you feeling?
Right around here, I have feeling in the palms of my hands. It almost feels like a swirl of energy
A swirl.
that goes around in the palms of my hands.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, just slowly come forward.
Right about here, it feels like it's pushing back. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more resistance. Yes.
And I'm not doing anything to make her feel this. It's just now she's just feeling those layers of that spiritual
Let's try
body.
something a little different.
What?
Send her love energy.
Okay.
That'll draw you.
Okay. I send Phyllis love.
And now it feels almost as if I'm surrounded. Whereas before I didn't feel like it was around me, just in front of me. And now I would say I feel it around me.
And it's making me wobble. I mean, it's so strong. I
You're going
feel
like
like
this.
I'm waving, I'm wobbling here.
Well, see, we're both surrounded.
Oh, that's really a good idea. That feels good. Go ahead. Just so I don't fall down.
I don't want to push it
No,
at you.
no, don't push me down.
Here, it feels lighter. It feels a little bit lighter, but I still feel surrounded. I still feel completely surrounded. It feels like there's a little bit more. Perhaps it's a little thicker in this area. Although it does feel lighter. So it's an odd way to try to describe it, but it is very different.
But the good thing is you can feel the different layers, and that's the important thing.
Yes.
Because people don't know this exists, and that's the whole object, is to show people that this truly does exist.
I think what happens is people don't take the time to realize, you know how you'll walk into a room or you'll approach a person and you feel uncomfortable. You've never met them before, have never had a conversation with them, but you just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that, again, is just possibly energy that doesn't meld with yours.
Right, and right away, when you're in somebody's aura like that, everybody's had that, where
Yes.
suddenly they feel like, oh,
I
don't
gotta
know if
go.
I want to be, and that's truly a warning in a way too sometimes.
Yes,
And if it gets really bad, you should pay attention and flee.
And often we don't, and then you have a bad experience. So
Right.
I find that more and more you have to pay attention to how you're feeling and honor it.
That's right. You're so right, my dear. Well, thank you so much. You did a great
Thank you.
job. And I forgot to tell you one other thing that's really cool. Has anyone ever seen the butterfly in different religions, especially Christianity? As you often see the butterfly represented the Transfiguration, and it's just funny that she wore a butterfly today. And one of the girls in the control room wore a butterfly today.
A beautiful jade one she did, yes, and earrings.
And this was not planned, and I want to tell you what it means. This has to do with when you transform consciously, you go through a metamorphosis, and that's exactly what we're going to be
That's
doing.
representative of it.
Yeah, and you know why? Because did you see that picture with the prana tube? The
Yes.
energy goes around like this. That's what
It's
makes
like a
it the
spirograph.
butterfly. Yeah, it goes up like this. So that's why the butterfly. And so this is an actual metamorphosis from a cocoon to the butterfly. And that's where we're going to go.
When you get in close proximity with a person that just has a negative aura,
Yes.
okay, you know it's going to repel you, number one, all right? But you can overcome their negative auras by sending them love
Yes.
and dissolving their negative aura, okay? Without them even knowing it. They don't even know why they're talking to you, and they could be the nastiest person on earth, and I've dealt with them, and changed the whole situation by doing that.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
It's always a good idea when you get somebody who's maybe a coworker or you have to go someplace in a meeting or an organization. You got to deal with a person. It's very, very derogative, and you don't want to deal with them, but you have no choice because you got to be there. If you learn to love that person, you can love them through it.
Yes.
You can love them through it, and you actually change them,
You do.
over some time. But what do you think about that negative energy? Would
Well-
that work? Would that work like in the opposite? If you were like over there and sending Phyllis negativity?
I suppose so, yes, because I've had a few experiences where a bad guy, and I was told this by several different people who had good sight and so forth, where they told me that this fellow was going around through the expo throwing literal knives at people. I mean, they weren't knives in the physical, but in the spiritual. And I was like, wow, well, you know what? When I walk by that guy, I get bad vibes. So I
Gee, I
guess it
wonder
makes
why.
sense.
Expecting to accomplish doing that.
I don't know. Who
Sometimes
knows?
they don't even know it. They don't even know it. You know what I mean? They could be so well accomplished in being psychically gifted and stuff like that, but their ego makes them think there's so much more. They think that they're doing it. They're not doing it. It's God directing it all. All right? He's the master puppeteer. You're just the puppet.
That's right.
I wonder if it's not misery loves company.
That's true, too.
Sometimes if you're miserable, you just want everybody else to be that
That's
way as
true.
well.
That's
And
true.
perhaps they're not doing it on purpose, but definitely,
That's their attitude.
yes. And I've
Yeah.
come in contact with so many people like that. And
That's true.
as you
What about
had
when you
said,
regress them and they're like that? Do you ever
sometimes
find them being like really
resistant.
like, not only resistant, but being like an angry spirit in them as you're regressing them? Back to a
very
time when there
often-
might have been like a mental case or something.
very often they're not ready to be regressed. So
Wow.
usually once you get to the point of actually releasing a little bit of control to go back and see what the problem was, they won't do it. They're not ready, or they don't feel that they have that problem. So it often
That's their
Just
own
beyond
ego.
help,
That's their
huh?
ego. That's their ego.
I don't think beyond help. I think sometimes it's just they're not ready to let that go. They want to be that way. They say that they don't, but they're not ready to let it go.
Right.
It has been my experience.
You know, Dr. Dyer. Dr. Dyer says your
Yes.
ego. He calls it edging God out.
Yes, yes.
What a
And you
good
know,
one.
it's a perfect thing to say.
It
You know,
is.
it's, the more you edge God out of your life, the more that these things will happen to you.
And the more
And the
miserable
more
you
you'll
become.
draw
Oh,
of this
certainly.
misery. You know, I hate
agree.
being around people why did this happen? And blah, 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 blah. And they just continue. And before you know it, you know, you don't want to take that baggage on you. You know, just bless them, send them love, and walk away.
Yeah.
Well, we've all been there where we walked into a room and everybody's miserable, and then somebody comes in all positive and it lifts everybody up, you know, and or just the opposite. Everybody's happy and somebody walks in that's really dour and they pull everybody down,
down.
you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody knows what we're talking about.
You know? And then when you get to the bottom line of what's really aggravating them, you turn around and say, how stupid could you, I mean,
Yeah,
what are
right.
you getting upset about that for?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to release the little things.
Yeah.
Remember that? She just said, remember I told
Release
you about
the little things. Oh yeah, we were talking about the little things.
It's
yeah.
funny you should say that.
I
'cause
picked it up.
Don't sweat the small things. There's
That's
a
it.
book about it.
Yes,
That's
yeah, and
it.
it's true.
You know, if you can't settle your differences with the small things, how are you going to ever take on
That's
a
right.
monumental task?
That's right.
You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
surround it in love and peace, and you know, say thank you and move on.
That's all.
Well, there was one more thing I wanted to do. I see we're getting close to timing out.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do a prayer petition to God, which all my work involves prayer, faith, and energy. So I'm going to ask for that prayer to be put up now. And I want everyone in the studio and also everyone at home to, you don't have to say it out loud, but just say it to yourselves. And what this will do is just as Jesus did in the Bible, 76 times it will cast out any energies that are not for your highest good, and you will feel so much more peaceful and light and loving. So I'll read it, and then I'm going to have a moment of silence where we're all just going to look at you as healers in our own right, and we're going to send that energy through our eyes to you. So please just take a moment of silence after we read it, and maybe you'll even see what's going on. Okay, is everybody ready? All right. We send energy to you, God, in the vibration of unconditional love. And we ask in the name of Jesus Christ that you send your great energy back to facilitate the work we are doing here today. We ask that you send the bubble of the Holy Spirit around my household for permanent protection while clearing out all energies that are not for our highest good from our households and the bodies of those living in my house. Everybody name your loved ones here and our pets and name them. We ask you, God, in the name of Jesus Christ, to remove all energies that are not for our highest good from our bodies and our sphere of influence in all worlds, all dimensions, wherever, whatever. We ask that filters be placed in our cords, palm, and feet chakras to prevent any backwash. And we further ask that you send the vibration of viral, bacterial, fungal neutralization to neutralize any illnesses in our bodies during the clearing vibration for the length of time that is appropriate for each of us, while giving each of us the antidote for whatever it is we need. Thy will be done. Okay, now bring the camera to us, please, and just let's just send that energy out for the healing to take place for our audience and our guests and the crew. Okay. I don't know about you, but I sure felt
I felt it in my
warm
hands. I
I
feel it in my hands.
I just felt a warm golden glow come over me.
I feel very calm.
Yep.
How about you? What did you feel?
I
Anything?
tend to feel it in the palms of
I
my
feel
hands,
it
so
right
it's
here.
very prickly.
Yeah, my fingertips are tingling.
Yes.
See, the peace will just center right over you once all this goes away.
That's right.
Yep.
That prayer is in this book.
Yes, and also for everyone in our audience and crew and cast and members here who are in our studio, I've posted this on my website so that you can go there and print it out. And it would be wonderful for you to say this each and every day. I say it myself every morning and every night before bedtime. Your nightmares will cease when you remember to say this every night.
That's good.
Yes. So that you can just print it out, and please feel free to share it with anyone. Just do not alter it, because each word has an important meaning.
Well, remember, it's not denominational either.
Yeah.
So you don't have to feel you're reading something that's Catholic, Christian, Jewish, whatever.
Right. It's
That's
not.
right.
It's
That's right.
non-denominational,
That's
really.
right.
It also applies to animals as well. If you have sick pets at home, you can say this prayer specifically for them.
And we do put the ask that we name our pets, because you know what? Many times our pets are there. They're actually our protectors and our healers. So we do not want to exclude them.
Absolutely, they're members of the family.
Yes.
Oftentimes, if there's sickness in the house, your pet will absorb it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's not uncommon for them to
Well, I
become ill.
recently had to put my Jack down. He had gotten real sick real fast, and it was a horrible time that I went through. We went through a whole show on Christine's show
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I know he's with me in spirit. He's in energy. He's an energy dog. I bless him every day. He's still included in my prayers.
And it wouldn't be if
But
his...
he validates like you can't believe. He validates every time. I could be writing this little sign on the back of a tractor trailer that says, I love my Jack Russell. Okay?
If his work here wasn't done, he'll come back to you.
He's going to come
It's
back.
not an uncommon thing for your pets to be
I've heard of that,
reincarnated.
yeah.
They won't come back necessarily as the same type of a pet or the same type of a dog, but they will come back if their job isn't done.
Yeah.
So you may see them again soon.
Well, I know a girl that's a friend of mine whose bulldog had passed away, and she found another one, and she swears that was her original bulldog.
Reincarnated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Reincarnated.
that
She
happens.
swears,
That
she
happens.
said, that's my dog.
It does.
You
Yeah,
know
it
what it
happens.
was? When I first started looking for the dog back in the day, my son had gotten seriously hurt, bad concussion, and he was not coming out of it. He was like, couldn't speak right.
Right.
And what happened was we went and got I went over and the doctor suggested maybe you should get him something to focus attention. So I said, I'm going to get him a dog. And I walked into the pet shop, and there was dachshunds and all these. I love them dogs, but I saw Jack. He was this little piglet,
Yeah.
you know, and I knew he was the one.
They pick you.
I took that dog, and I took that little puppy, and I put it in his hands. It was like a miracle. He started talking. He came back to life, and it was because of that dog. And although he's only with us for 11 years, I mean, them dogs live 16 to 19 years. Okay, to me, it was not enough.
And his
was-
job
It's
may...
never enough. Of course, they don't have a very long life, and it's sad sometimes.
Okay.
You know?
I do want to mention that on our next show, we will be teaching you how to work with your angels. So please tune into that. And also, we're very interested in if you have any questions or topics you would like to see answered. If we can answer them, we surely will. And so you can email me at adolphinashephard@msn.com. And if you want to go to my website for the prayer, that's adolphinashephard.com. And that's about all I have to say so far. I got one more thing to say. Do you have
You have
anything you
nothing
want
more to say? I can't
Can
believe
you
that.
believe that? Oh my God, yes.
lost
Must have
the
hit a
words.
speed bump.
So I did want to thank everybody for coming, and Christine and Phyllis and Tommy, and I do
Our
want
studio
to,
audience.
yeah, and our studio audience and the
Our
crew.
sponsor, we have Antonio's Pork Store.
Yes, and our sponsors. And I do want to say, may the hope of God fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Before we end, one thing, when you watch the show, if anything happens or things change in your life, we'd like to know that. Please write us or contact Adolphina through the website,
Yeah.
and let us know. And perhaps you could be studio guest there. And God bless you all.
Yes, God bless you. See you next time.
Yeah,
So. So,
Apparently, we have a couple of minutes
oh,
more than we thought we
good.
did.
Oh, good. Well, I'm so glad we have a
Time
couple of
flies
minutes.
when you're having fun.
Please contact Phyllis. I'm sure she has her business cards with her.
Yes,
And do you have a way to contact you?
I have an email address on the cards, yes.
Oh,
You can
okay.
say
I
it
was just
now
going
if
to
you
send you
want to.
mental
Yeah,
telepathy and see
say
if
your
you want to
email
get it.
address so that they can email you, because I don't think it's on the credits.
Right, say it.
Oh, he did put it on.
Oh, did he put it on the credits? Oh, good.
Oh, okay, then look at the
Oh,
credits.
good. Yes.
See, I would put mine on the credits, but I'm a very private person.
Okay,
You still get 3 minutes? 30 seconds?
okay.
So we want to thank you, we bless you, and we heal you with the love of God. And please come back and join us again. We will let you know also. It will be announced on my website and on Facebook, the dates of the showing that you'll see this show. So please come back for the next, we're learning how to work with your angels.
And we will be on YouTube once the show airs here on Staten Island.
Yeah, they'll be
Yes.
on YouTube at Spiritual Exploration, where my shows have been also.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
so-
great. That's great. So-
Okay, well,